Hello. Okay, so this is actually take 3. Oh, and I just noticed that the recording audio started at the time of 333. I'm remembering the other day I was looking up at the sky and I noticed there was like a 3 in the clouds, and it was inside of a specific shape. For some reason now I don't remember the shape, but diamonds have been coming through so much lately, and like the actual shape of a diamond, like in a baseball field, but then also like when a diamond is depicted in a specific way. I can't remember the name of this, but like the mineral or gem that the diamond will be presented in, like the bottom being the diamond and then the top is like multifaceted, like, why can't I remember the name of the shape? Anyway, so not long after I saw that, of course, it made me think of the Empress in Tarot, number 3. I'm also seeing strength and Leo energy, but yeah, there's something about tapping into your personal year in astrology if you haven't already. I actually have never, I didn't even know how to calculate it. I had to look it up. 144 in the timer, and it turns out that this is a personal year 3 for me, so it was like right after I saw that 3. Anyway, so there could be something like this, like coming through for you, like just like a navigational like framework for you to work with in some way. And I just got really hot all of a sudden, like my chest, my heart, just so much heat. And in between the second and the third take to record, my screen just went black. I felt like my upper body was like my arms, my chest. I just needed to do some movement with the arms, and something popped up on my YouTube to listen to, like a specific sound frequency, and I didn't look at it until I went to turn it off, and there was this like opalescent butterfly on the screen, and in the last like 18 hours butterflies have come through like at least 3 to 5 times in different ways. So yeah, when you're finding this, you may be coming through the other side of some sort of transformation, and it's like that feeling of, okay, I feel like there was some sort of breakthrough, or you're on the precipice of some sort of breakthrough. And I know this has been coming through a lot lately, but it's like this period of once the breakthrough happens, then what? And you may feel just kind of like you feel, the other day I was walking and I was sending a friend a voice note, and the wind just picked up and I heard the phrase change in the air. You may be like feeling this change in the air, or you'll know this is for you if you're feeling this change in the air, or it may be coming in very soon. And sometimes, and I mentioned this before, when I have so many like energetic strands coming in, it's almost a little bit more challenging for me to show up and start recording, because I'm almost like, where do I start? There's just so much. And I am recording from my computer today, which I almost never do, very rarely. I just saw 404 on the timer, and for me, the 404 has been coming through as like error codes, like correcting error codes. And the word Gnosis has been coming through a lot as well. Body intelligence, the Sophia innate, emerald frequency, or the emerald founders are coming through. And this like green plasma has been showing up as well, and the way that Gnosis is reinitiated within the being who is ready. It's not really something that feels like you go and it's hard to make bold statements like that because, when you feel guided to go wisdom seeking, if you will, it's like you're open to that. But it's almost like there's this veil, right? Or this cloak until there's that resonance or that frequency match. So yeah, that sort of feels like, what is this? This ping or this key code that if this is sitting with you, it almost feels like I've said nothing of substance, but what I feel is so layered and vast and potent. And so, yeah, you could be going through that sort of feeling right now where it doesn't really maybe look like much is going on, or, you may have just had an internal breakthrough. Like I said, something came through the other day where I have looked at this many times, but there was still this piece that I didn't realize connected to my mother's lineage, or like the females really in both lineages, or the female energy. It doesn't always have to come through the anatomy of the woman, of course, but just that like female polarity of making decisions or not choosing the heart-brain coherence of your own innate desire and what you trust and what you what you want, So I had an experience that came in, and it's just like, I'll share more about this in another time, but yeah, so there could be something like that where, right, the butterfly of limitlessness, freedom, potential, spreading the wings, and like carving your own path, taking the path less. I don't know. I just felt like I've been feeling a lot of like Shakespearean energy. I feel like I've been saying things like almost seemingly accidentally that take me back to that sort of time period. So that could be relevant for someone. But yeah, there's this yeah, I keep feeling it on the left side. And it doesn't have to be like choosing. When I say choosing yourself, I know there's like a lot of a negative connotation to that, because ultimately this type of freedom will lead to the new leadership, new paradigm of leadership, leading by example. So it's like setting the lineages forward, backward, present, free, but in the moment it could maybe perhaps be viewed as selfish. And so with these decisions, sometimes there's these like void periods where you may experience like emotional release, somatic release, grief, things like this. So if you're going through something like that, and also bursts of like inspiration and vitality and excitement, so yeah, this will be finding you if most likely you are in this type of position. The number 911 and sirens were coming through so deeply the last few days, and the same friend that I mentioned I was exchanging voice notes with, I mentioned numbers, and she was like, oh yeah, 911, and I had sent her my notes that it was just 911 on my timer as I was saying that. I love that. So yeah, you could be seeing 911, and there's this feeling of immediacy, but in a lot of context of 911 that most of us know, at least here in the States, or any number that you associate with an emergency, it's like this, you need to act because 911, you call 911 when there's an emergency. And I feel like that is, I have tingles on my crown, especially on the left side of the crown. And I'm seeing this like effervescent, very tiny bubble, like violet plasma ultraviolet plasma coming in. It's almost like raining in on the left side in particular. These auric key codes. Oh, now I'm feeling it in the left armpit. Excuse me. Yeah. So this 911, the sirens. I'm seeing someone like take a step back, and it's almost like, and I've talked about this before, like those error codes. Instead of course, we need that 911 emergency when there's actually an emergency, but this is about like all layers of your being coming back into a coherence where you're not, always acting in a state of emergency. Not to imply that you're just running around all day frantic, but like there's something about the lineage clearing of like having stress when really there's no stress that's there, like your different layers of existence are coming into a co-creation state, more so than just fixing or reacting. I hope that makes sense. So I just paused, and it happened to pause on 119 all day, and I also just paused accidentally, and I paused on 1123, and those numbers are very significant to me personally. So yeah, like I said, number codes could be really coming through for you, and trusting what it is that you really want and feel. I know I already mentioned that a little bit, but like this 0 point or the void space that's happening right now, that, it's like when it seems like nothing is going on, or even if you have things going on, but there's still this like blank space. It's like, how do you show up in that? Is it going to be a period where you run back to old ways of doing things because that feels safer? And even if you start to do that, it's like, okay, like today I applied for something, 12:12 on the timer. I applied for something that I don't think I actually want to do, but it feels like the only option right now. And so I applied for it. And there was a synchronicity around it. And then I kind of plugged it in. I've been working with Gemini just to get another perspective. And interestingly, the synchronicity was the word prospect. And I mentioned that in a reading the other day, in a transmission. And it was like the one version of the word prospect could relate to like, what was it? Like 3D labor or something, which is exactly like what I feel like I've been putting in for a long time. Like volunteer positions, exchange positions of, room and board, and putting in that type of thing, which I'm very grateful for, and I'm glad I did it. But like, I've just been feeling like I'm ready for something new, but that something new hasn't really emerged yet. So yeah, even though I applied for it, 13 on the timer, I've been seeing so many 13s as well. The mother arc coming in, and the some of you could feel connected to the Blu-ray beings, the Blu-ray consciousness. Turquoise is coming through very strongly. So yeah, there's something about nurturing your stuff right now and really trusting what you feel. And even if you, like I still applied for that experience. I didn't hear back yet. I literally just applied. But after I did, I did this almost like emancipation of feeling the need to do things that I don't really want to do anymore. And if I do get it and I change my mind, that's okay too. But there's something about being honest with myself in that moment. That's what I truly was feeling, and I admitted that, instead of just being like, oh, well, it's fine. I'm just, discounting how I truly feel. So there's something like that coming through as well. And being really honest about what you want and what you feel, even if it maybe seems impractical in the moment. Yeah. There's been a song stuck in my head all day. What song is this? Anna Kendrick from, I think it's Cups or something. But the line that's been stuck in my head, and I'm just realizing the other day I was trying to write a word on the notes for my video notes, and there is so much coming through. So when I tried to record the first 2 times, my voice was literally drowning out. I just could not speak. I mean, I was speaking, but it felt like I was straining. Yeah, and then my left temple just started to ache. So after doing a little bit of, again, the upper body somatic release, I definitely felt a bit more open. But I'm honestly still feeling that energy. But I'm glad I'm recording anyway, because I can feel that this collective sort of void, you know, it's like 999 and 000. Like, you're right at the precipice. You just closed something. And I know this has been coming through off and on, but this part of the experience feels like that. It feels like the next part, like we've moved on to something new. And I know there's so much going on astrologically, and a lot of shifts in that area as well. So that seems to be in alignment with collective timing, if you're finding this. Okay, so when I was trying to write on the notes, the word whiskey whatever I was trying to write autocorrected to whiskey. And now I'm realizing the song Cups has the word whiskey in it. So my right ring or pointer finger, the air element, yeah. Oh, excuse me. And right before I had this like realization about decisions that I was still subconsciously making out of the feminine lineage subconscious thing. And by the way, I've done like a lot of work around that, so this was like really in there. Yeah, I just realized this actually. My nephew kept wanting to hear the song Let It Go from Frozen, and then my sister was like talking about it a lot and was like, really listen to the song. I just like really want to listen to Frozen. And I was like, I don't know, there's other movies that I like better than Frozen in that genre, but like I was like, okay. And then I realized like right after I was listening to Let It Go, because my nephew, once he likes something, he wants to hear it all the time. We listened to it a bunch, and then I had that experience where I talk a lot about the miasma, the frozen light, right? Like frozen when something is preserved. And then when I had that realization, it was like right after that. And I was like, oh, like tapping into that allowed me to like pull through the next thing. Not saying it's because of the song Frozen necessarily, but like that was in my awareness. And I kept at like, why does this keep coming up? And then the metaphorical ice melted, and I was like, oh, that's why. I also had a very potent dream last night. I think I'm going to save that for the next transmission. But it feels pretty relevant to another aspect of subconscious driving, the subconscious drivers of sometimes being so in something and maybe not realizing until we get that like hangman, that like a new perspective. And even though like personally I have leaped into the unknown, especially the last few years, many times there was still this, I guess, unconscious aspect of me that associated the leap with not having a lot of money, being in the cold, not having things to make me feel comfortable. Like, yes, I always was getting what I needed, and that served me, but like I'm done with that now. So it's like I needed to like consciously release that that's not the only way to leap, you know? And this is coming through almost like in real time. Even though I've had these realizations the last few days, it's like continuing to show itself in different ways. So yeah, whenever you're finding this, perhaps there is a similar karmic lineage miasma melt that is taking place or just took place. And yeah, the new is here. It's coming. There's something, percolating, brewing. And I just saw someone like flash a bunch of playing cards, like with a really good hand. It's like they've been sitting on this hand and then boom. I'm also hearing river rat if you play poker. When like, I feel like when I used to play poker back in the day, I used to get called a river rat. But like sometimes you just align in that moment and boom, you know? So something like that feels very relevant. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter than usual today. So thank you for listening, and feel free to share anything that came up for you. My screen just went black. Yeah, and sitting, I know how hard it can be to sit in like the unknown and the discomfort, so sharing in the comments and stuff can be a nice way to, like, if you want to connect, you know. All right, thank you.